It said London is modern Babylon, a city of immense scale, rapid change, complexities, chaos. And chaotic it certainly was this weekend, with the trigger lying in the Middle East. Groups of hundreds turned out on the streets and outside the parliament, with some raising their voices in favor of Gazans, the others demanding the release of hostages and opposing the UK's decision to recognize a Palestinian state. At least 522 people were in fact arrested in a protest backing the Palestine Action group. There's more on the scene.
London has hit turbulence, and the trigger is Palestine. Chaos erupted across the British capital as hundreds turned out on streets. Protesters from opposing sides kept their demands forward loud and clear. Some raised their voices in favor of Palestinians and against Israel's offensive in Gaza. The others called for the release of hostages and expressed anger over UK's decision of recognizing a Palestinian state. At least 522 people were arrested by the police in London as protests erupted against the UK's recent decision to ban the group Palestine Action. Hundreds of protesters filled the square outside the Houses of Parliament over the weekend. Many dared the police to arrest them by displaying signs reading, "I oppose genocide. I support Palestine Action."
I've come here to support the campaign to get Palestine Action deprescribed. It's outrageous that they have been judged to be a terrorist organisation, when what they have been trying to do is to stop the production of arms, and I share their aims. So I came today. I haven't signed up for the protest, but I have a card in my bag and I have a marker, and at any point I might get the marker out and draw the same slogan. I haven't decided yet.
I was arrested for holding up a banner that these people are holding up, "I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action." I have been charged under the Terrorism Act, Section 13.
Last month, the British Parliament passed a law banning the Palestine Action group and making it a crime to publicly support it, with a punishment of up to 14 years in prison. This after activists broke into a Royal Air Force base and vandalized 2 tanker planes to protest against Britain's support for Israel's offensive against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Supporters of the Palestine Action group, who have held several protests over the past month, argue that the law illegally restricts freedom of expression. The group also said its activists were responding to the UK's indirect military support for Israel amid the war in Gaza. According to police figures, half of the people arrested in the weekend protests in relation to the Palestine Action were aged 60 or above. The UK government faced criticism for its actions from the United Nations and groups such as Amnesty International and Greenpeace. They condemned the government's prescription as legal overreach and a threat to free speech. In defense, the UK Home Secretary said the government's decision was taken in line with its national security police and kept public safety on priority. While there were protests supporting the Palestine Action group, pro-Israel supporters also marched against the organization. They even opposed the UK government's decision to recognize a Palestinian state in September, unless Israel meets certain conditions, including agreeing to a ceasefire in Gaza and reviving the prospect of a 2-state solution.
Palestine Action are a prescribed terrorist organisation again, and it shows that terrorism is becoming mainstream. We still believe that they are a small section of society, a radical section, who may dominate the airwave, but the silent majority is with us, and they stand for peace, they stand for the rule of law, and they stand for democracy. And Israel is still all of those things.
Meanwhile, hundreds more marched to Prime Minister Keir Starmer's residence in Downing Street, calling for the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. The protesters were joined by several relatives of the hostages, who waved Israeli flags and wore yellow ribbons, a symbol of solidarity with those held captive.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
But the world wants to forget the hostages. They've slipped from the headlines. The silence, deafening. They are not just hostage to the terrorist ghouls of Hamas and Islamic Jihad. They're also hostage to the world's indifference. Every moment they remain in chains is a choice by cowardly leaders to look away.
The UK has been witnessing a series of rallies denouncing the British government's stand on Israel's war in Gaza. While British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's move to recognize a Palestinian state later this year has angered Israel, many Palestinian supporters in the UK condemn the government for not doing enough to end the war in Gaza. For the UK, this geopolitical challenge has also brought in a domestic disorder. How will the Keir Starmer government wade through this? That remains to be seen.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka karjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
$1 trilhão idioma.
Portuguese,
Por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.